What is up, guys? My name is Nick and welcome back to another Modern Warfare 2 video. Today's going to be a fairly quick one. I just kind of want to show you guys something that I found out while making so many class edit videos, so many things, and just testing out hundreds and hundreds of classes. There's one simple thing that I do when testing out classes that usually works, I'd say 75% of the time. I'm not going to say it works 100% because sometimes it just doesn't at all, though for the most part, just using certain attachments on certain weapons helps out a lot. So I'm going to be showing you guys an assault rifle this video, and I'm going to be showing you guys an SMG as well. So if we go into the SMG first, as you guys can see, we got the AK-74U. Now this one's great. It's a small class. You would think that this class would have a lot of recoil, but then we go into the firing range and you notice two things. One, this class barely has any recoil whatsoever. I mean, at mid-range, it might get a little more complicated, but you still could hit all your shots on target. At long range, that's where it's like, even the shots barely connect, all right? Like, it's just weird. This game's weird at long range shots. But there's a few things you could do in your class setup and a few attachments that you should be focusing on with certain things. So a lot of people have the misconception they got to either make a class completely on speed or they got to make a class completely on recoil control. But that's not the case. And I'm going to show you guys two little things here, actually three little things here that you guys should do, and it's three attachments you should always be changing on assault rifles to make them better. And don't worry, you SMG lovers, I got you guys as well. We're going to go into that in a second. So when you get to the barrel, the main focus should always be recoil control and anything similar to that. So if you focus on ADS and stuff like that on the barrel, you're going to get a really bad amount of recoil control. So you got this one right here, for example, that's the one I have on. And then the tuning, I focused on recoil steadiness and ADS. But if I were to change this, as you guys can see, let's focus only on ADS for a second, all right? We're going to tune it and we're going to focus on all about speed stuff, right? Imagine that's what you're thinking of when you're making the class. Once you actually get into the firing range here, this gun, even at close range, is kicking up. Once you get to those mid-range shots, you're missing so many shots. The barrel is probably one of the most important things to focus on recoil control. So let's put that back on, and then let's put the recoil steadiness back up, and you can even put the ADS, man. It doesn't matter. As long as you go back into this, you go back into the firing range, and you guys are going to see the recoil control again. Every shot was able to hit the target. So that's really important on barrels for assault rifles. The next one is the underbarrel. Now the underbarrel, most of them give you the same thing, but recoil stabilization is the pro that you want to be going for. You don't want to work on something that doesn't give you that. So like, let's say this here doesn't give you that. This gives you recoil stabilization. That's really nice. I find this attachment here, just in my opinion, it seems to be the best. I mean, you could throw on this one right here where you only lose ADS, but this one also gives you hip fire accuracy, which I kind of like running on assault rifles. So yeah, this one right here, recoil stabilization, you always want to focus on for that. Now the underbarrel and even the stock we'll talk about, these are where you should be focusing your ADS on and your sprint to fire speed. So the true tack grip on the AK-74U gives you that. It gives you sprint to fire and ADS, and then that's what you should be focusing on in the tuning as well. And then the stock, again, I'm focusing on ADS, sprint to fire, and then we got movement and hip recoil control, which is a nice little bonus. Then you lose some flinch resistance, but it's really not much whatsoever. So those are what you should be focusing on for assault rifles, and it's going to make your gun all around really good. Now let's move on to the SMGs, where I'm going to show you guys a class for this as well. The Lockman sub, for example. I have a great class for it set up already. This one's really nice, and again, you want to, some machine guns, you don't need an underbarrel. Sometimes you could run a muzzle. It does help with some recoil control on certain weapons, but for the most part, you should just be focusing on a barrel for this one from these first three attachments here. So the barrel is really great. Movement speed and ADS on SMGs is good to focus on because you're not going for long range anyways with these guns, so the recoil control isn't bad. But then when you get into the tuning, you want to put the recoil steadiness to the minimum while also putting the ADS to the maximum. If you could get those separate, ADS and recoil steadiness, definitely throw those on together. Now the laser, you can throw on whatever you want. If you want an optic instead, go for it. These don't really make too much of a difference on the classes. Again, we could run the 40 round mags. I never suggest running drums on your guns unless you're using the Fennec, because the only extra amount of mags or ammo that you get in mags is on a drum, but I never suggest this because it's too slow. The gun is just horrible with that. Then the rear grip, again, this is where you want to focus on recoil control rather than ADS and sprint to fire speed. And then the stock is where you can focus on that sprint to fire and ADS as well. So let's get into the firing range here. I'm gonna show you guys an example. Right here, the recoil control, it's solid and it's nice. Now let's say I was to take the rear grip off, okay? And let's say I was to focus on something else. So let's say we just took that off completely and we throw on, you know what, we'll just leave it as is. We'll just go and test it as is. The recoil control is not going to be as steady. It's not that bad, but it's not that steady. But then when you get to those mid-range shots, that's where the controlling gets a lot harder to actually stay on target. So the rear grip on SMGs should always be about recoil control, and then the tuning, you could put ADS and sprint to fire all the way up, but I would suggest putting recoil settingness up as well sometimes. Like on the Lockman sub, ADS works, but on some SMGs, the recoil settingness works better. And then you go back here, and then you're gonna see this gun is almost super steady. I did miss 1 or 2 shots, but honestly, it's a lot better than it was. So I hope you guys take these tips into consideration when making your class setups. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching. Merry Christmas, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.